Now we're about to hear from someone else who's been on the receiving end of rude Kevin Rudd. Retired Air Vice Marshal Peter Criss has accused Prime Minister Kevin Rudd of bully standover tactics during a recent meeting, and he's on the line. Peter, good afternoon to you.
Hi, Ben. How are you? Good
I'm okay. Thank you for talking to us. You were seeing Prime Minister Kevin Rudd on July 11. You were representing the Alliance of Defence Service Organisations. You were talking about increased funding for veterans on military superannuation indexation. So an important issue. It didn't go the way that you were hoping or that he was hoping, but there's something that he said to you at the end of that meeting. Can you just take us through that part of the conversation?
I wasn't at the end, mate. It was probably in the middle of it, but he repeated it again at the end, and that was that if we bagged the offer that the Prime Minister had advised, and there was three of us present, one was the National President of the Defence Force Welfare Association, but he spoke to both of us, and the third one was the Secretary taking notes, and he said, if you bag this offer that we've just announced to you, and he and now Minister Kelly had just explained what they were going to put on the table. He said, if you bag us, then we'll pull up the drawbridge and you'll get nothing. Now, the meeting was amicable, don't get me wrong, and it was businesslike, and they laid out what they were prepared to do. I responded to the Prime Minister and said, well, what you've got on the table doesn't stack up against what the coalition's offering. We will have to explain to the members through a video of what the offers are. And that's when he said, that's fine, but don't bag us. Don't bag us or we'll pull up the drawbridge and you'll get nothing.
But hang on, that's a threat.
Well, yeah, of course it's a threat. Of course it's a threat. And we actually respected that demand. And if your listeners wanted to, they could go to the ADSO website and they could watch the video that I put out the day after they announced it. So we met with him on the 11th of July, but on the 30th of July, just after he got back from his trip with his wife to Afghanistan, and with Minister Kelly, by the way. Minister Kelly announced a joint statement on behalf of Minister Snowden, who didn't front for the press release, and he announced to this nation what it is that Prime Minister advised us back in early July. He
said, that's fine, but don't bag us, because if you bag us, we'll pull up the drawbridge and you'll get nothing.
Yep.
No doubt whatsoever over the language?
Absolutely no doubt at all, because it was repeated again at the end. He summarised what had transpired during the meeting, and as I said, it was a business-like meeting. ADSO prides itself in being non-aligned. We're not partisan, and because we're sensible enough to realise, Ben, that in the reality of politics, we might have to work with either party after elections. So you don't go around burning bridges, or I should say perhaps burning drawbridges. You've got to just roll with the punches, and so we would have been stupid to go out and bag them. And it was only the start of this week, Minister Kelly stood up in a park in Queanbeyan on national TV, because the ABC was running their breakfast show for News 24 from there, and he made some statements that were factually incorrect. He was misrepresenting the truth grossly in a number of areas, and I thought, gee, that's offside. And then on the Tuesday, the Prime Minister went to Brisbane and he said, we believe in a fair go for all Australians, not for some, but for all Australians. And I thought, gee, this is getting a bit rich. We're being asked not to bag anyone, and yet there are incorrect statements being made against what their achievements are, particularly by Minister Kelly. And I thought, no, it's about time. And so I was on another radio station in Brisbane, and I thought, no, it's about time I at least explain the constraints that we were told to work under.
Peter, I'd like to have a closer look at your campaign on this issue if I can with you next week. I'll leave it there for now because we're focusing on some of these behaviours that are displaying themselves. Thank you so much for your time.
Absolute pleasure, Ben.
Retired Air Vice Marshal Peter Criss. How about that? Over to you, 131873.